Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Bharat's wholesale price index based inflation fell to a 4-month low of 1.31% on an annual basis in August from 2.04% in July due to a reduction in the prices of manufactured products and food items. Food prices inflation stood at 3.11% in August as compared to 3.45% in July. Bharat exported drugs and pharma worth $11.9 billion in April to August 2024 period, marking an 8.1% increase compared to the same period last year. The surge has turned this sector into Bharat's fourth largest category, up from 6th place in 2023. And according to a Grant Thornton survey, investor optimism for India remains strong, with 86% anticipating increased allocation to the country despite global economic challenges. Deal activity in the country has surged, with 643 deals worth $17.1 billion recorded in the first half of 2024. Bharat's lead from 11th to 5th place in the global GDP rankings and status as the 5th largest stock market further enhance its appeal. Those are the positives, and of course there's this big positive, ladies and gentlemen. This day marks the first phase of assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir, the first since the abrogation of Article 370, the first in the last decade. Over 23 lakh voters will be deciding the fate of 219 candidates across 24 constituencies, and the ballots are cast. This is across 7 districts of Jammu and Kashmir. Voting in Jammu and Kashmir has largely remained peaceful, with no untoward incidents reported in any of the 24 assembly constituencies. Yes, there has been some aji-baji between the local candidates and some ruckus at some polling booths, etc. But that is par for course in a normal election, in a Vidhan Sabha election. But there has been no mega untoward elections. Clearly, the bullet has been trumped. It's the ballot that's become visible there all across these 7 districts, across these 24 constituencies, assembly constituencies. Jammu and Kashmir has recorded a historic voter turnout of 58.85%. Now this is nearly 60%, and there is possibility of an upward revision when the final votes are collated and the numbers come in and settle perhaps early on Thursday morning. And this is in the first phase of the J&K Assembly election. So it's going to only get better. Anantnag, 54.17% at 6 p.m. There is Doda at 69.33%. So Doda nearly 70%. And this is around 7 p.m., 6 p.m. So this could further get consolidated and revised upward. Kishtwar is 77.23%. Kulgam is nearly 60%. Pulwama 43.87%. Ramban 67.71%. And Shopaya 53.64%. Congratulations and a big thank you to all the voters in these 24 assembly constituencies who have stepped out and cast the vote. They have exercised their fundamental right, and they have also gone ahead and dispensed their fundamental duty to cast and take part in this movement that is democracy. Let's hope this trend continues into the forthcoming phases too. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, a big step towards one nation, one poll. The Union Cabinet has approved the recommendations made by former President Ramnath Kovindji's panel. The panel proposes simultaneous Lok Sabha and Assembly elections, with urban body and panchayat polls to be held within the next 100 days. The One Nation, One Election proposal was part of the ruling BJP's manifesto for the 2019 and 2024 general elections, but it has also drawn heavy criticism from the opposition, who have red-flagged concerns over the changes to the constitution and practical challenges. First, let's try and break down what the panel has recommended. In the first step, simultaneous elections will be held to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. For this, no ratification by the states will be required for the constitutional amendment. In the second step, elections to municipalities and the panchayats will be synchronized with elections to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies in such a way that local body elections are held within 100 days of the elections to Lok Sabha and state assemblies. This will require ratification by not less than 1/2 of the states. Creation of a single electoral roll and poll ID for this is going to be initiated. The constitution will have to be amended. These amendments will require ratification by not less than 1/2 of the states, and in the event of a hung house, a no confidence motion or any such event, fresh elections should be held to constitute the new Lok Sabha or state assembly for the unexpired term of the house. The Election Commission of India, in consultation with state election commissions, plan and estimate in advance, and they have to take steps accordingly. Now, while the opposition has said that one election will destroy federalism, the government has put some arguments in their defense. Simultaneous polls are being held between 1951 to 1967. The Law Commission report in 1999 actually backed simultaneous polls. Parliamentary panel report of 2015 suggested simultaneous polls in 2 phases. Ramnath Kovind panel held extensive consultations too. 32 out of the 47 parties appearing before the Kovind panel actually backed the move. Extensive feedback also shows widespread support among the people, because we then do not become a nation that is perennially in election mode. Tom Vadakan, national spokesperson of the BJP with us. Adil Hassan, spokesperson of the AIMIM with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. Adil Hassan, your thoughts. If we were to hold Lok Sabha and State Assembly polls together, urban body or municipal commissions and also panchayats together. So that's what they're saying. Agar beech mein koi ek sarkar girti hai for the remaining period of time, let there be immediate polls and there be a government elected for the remaining period of time. But we maintain this pattern so that the country is not perennially in an election mode. Your thoughts, Adil Hassan?
Sir, सबसे पहले my party categorically oppose this one nation one election bill proposed by the central government, because you know जब सरकार एक सेंसस नहीं करा सकती है, सरकार चाहती है कि रीजनल पार्टी को डिस्पैरिटी हो, क्योंकि ओबीसी मूवमेंट आगे है देश में और भाजपा आरएसएस और हमेशा चाहती है कि ओबीसी की लीडरशिप नहीं खड़ी हो, रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी होगी, क्योंकि आप जो रीजन हर स्टेट का अलग अलग डिमांड रहता है, वो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट रीजनल पार्टी उसको फुलफिल करती है। पब्लिक जो आम गरीब है, जो मजदूर है, किसान है, महिला है, वो अपने स्टेट सरकार से बातचीत करके अपने नेगोशिएट कर सकती है। आप 2000 लाल किला में लंबी लंबी बातें आपने की, 2022 तक आपने पक्का मकान नहीं दिया, पानी नहीं दिया, अभी तक टॉयलेट नहीं दिया। भारत का जो सभी स्टेट है उस सब में रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी है और आपको ये कोई पॉलिसी पैरालिसिस नहीं होगा। सबसे बड़ा, आप हरियाणा, जम्मू, महाराष्ट्र और झारखंड चुनाव नहीं करा सकते। खुद इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ने कहा था, जब हरियाणा में एक फेस्टिवल हुआ, उसके चलते आपको 3 दिन बढ़ाना पड़ा, तो वन नेशन कैसे? बिहार में छठ मनाया जाता है, महाराष्ट्र में गणपति होता है, ओणम होता है, कहीं बिहू होता है, तो क्या कीजिएगा? हर स्टेट के हिसाब से फिर क्या होगा इस पे? ये ओबीसी मूवमेंट जो सेंसस नहीं करा सके, जो बुलेट ट्रेन नहीं दे सके, जो महंगाई पे वो नहीं करते, वो पब्लिक का अटेंशन को डाइवर्ट करने के लिए, रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी को और बढ़ाने के लिए और तानाशाही डिक्टेटोरियल एटीट्यूड को बढ़ाने के लिए ये मोदी और अमित शाह का एजेंडा है। लेकिन देश की जनता, भारत की जनता इसको मानेगी नहीं। We will oppose. जो asked Mr. Modi.
So you are one of the 15 parties out of 47 who have opposed, but there are 32. Yeah, there are 32 who have not opposed this. Are they or are they not with the common person or common man? Let the voters also. Voters also have a point of view there.
Everybody knows Mr. Modi is Mr.
One minute, Mr. Adil Hassan. I didn't speak when you were making your point. I'm just saying, sir, there are 32 political parties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is only a member of the BJP. He's not even the national president of the BJP. He's the Prime Minister of the country, yes, but there are 32 political parties out of 47, as per the information, who backed One Nation, One Poll. But Tom Vadakanji, that this is going to create confusion, this is to try and just deflect attention, and it is going to promote authoritarian regimes or governments in the future. Your point.
Anand, that's very strange that the same process existed from 1952, 1957, 1962, 1967. There was no damage to the federal structure. These were elections that were conducted. And if you look at the gross breakup, 1951-52 election cost was about 1 crore. Then we came down to 2014, the cost was 30,000 crore. And then we had this figure that just came out in 2019, 60,000 crore, Anand. This is the exchequer. This is our own money that is being spent on elections. And if you have one election across the country and there is the referee, the election commission, looking at the situation in each state, there will be a dialogue of what are the appropriate dates. Each party will be invited to say, well, this is the restriction here, there's a festival happening. So there is the election commission which will take this into operation. Now, as to the frequent elections that are happening, development work goes for a 6, Anand. Every time, every third month, 6 months, you have an election. You have the entire educational sector affected because the polling booths are in schools. The teachers are polling agents, polling officials. So now the point is, you dislocate the entire system to what? And they say democracy is affected. Where is democracy affected? If it was possible at that time, it's legitimately possible now. And the issues are larger. Now talk about corruption. Look at the question of corruption and black money involvement. At one time election, money will flow for the relevant election, and it's not a continuous process of generating black money to ensure victory. It will ensure black money will be controlled, corruption will be controlled, and you have a stable government. And let me add one thing, Anand, and I think I need to put this in record. The Congress party, some of its leaders who go international for regime change, they must be a worried lot, because every time they think of doing a regime change, stability will ensure, whichever government comes in, whether it is the left, right or center, the government has a manifesto. They win elections on the basis of manifesto. 2019, 2024, we promised this and we will deliver. This is to be brought in Parliament, discussed. There will be an implementation committee which will ensure that all views are on the same page, and we are confident that by 2029 this process which had to happen will happen. Anand, this country deserves it. We need a stable government. We can't have governments which are at the fancy of some regime change preachers.
No, it's not even just regime change. Politics, everybody has the will, has the leeway, and of course the freedom to try all options available in front of them. But Adil Hassan, there are states where discerning groups have, the voter has shown, even if they have to choose for 2 levels, they have the wisdom to do that. They have shown it in Andhra Pradesh, they have shown it in Odisha. In the past, they have shown it in some of the other states also where simultaneous election, Arunachal Pradesh, simultaneous elections have happened. So it's not that कि states में simultaneous elections हुए नहीं हैं. और कई पार्टियों को तो इसका लाभ भी हो सकता है कि आपका लोकल सपोर्ट आपको नेशनली भी आगे प्रोजेक्ट कर दे उसी माहौल में.
ये टोटल डिक्टेटोरियल एटीट्यूड को बढ़ावा देगा. मोदी सरकार का आपने देखा कि चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को उसने इलेक्शन कमिश्नर को बनाने में हटा दिया. जब इतनी डरती है मोदी सरकार की चीफ जस्टिस उस पैनल में नहीं रहे. आपके सामने सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि सीबीआई इज इन केज. आपने कहा कि अभी वक्फ बिल जेपीसी पर है. अमित शाह बोलते हैं मैं पास करके दिखाऊंगा. प्रधानमंत्री की सुरक्षा पे 535 करोड़ खर्च हो रहा है. एक बार प्रधानमंत्री कहीं जाते हैं तो 10 करोड़ रुपया इवेंट की तरह खर्च होता है. क्या उस पैसे में कॉस्ट कटिंग नहीं हो सकता है क्या? और इलेक्ट्रॉल बॉन्ड पे हजारों करोड़ का चंदा कांग्रेस और उसके हजारों से हजारों करोड़ का चंदा बीजेपी को मिलता है. इलेक्शन कमीशन हेट स्पीच इतना मुसलमानों के खिलाफ दिया गया. एक बार भी इलेक्शन कमीशन कॉग्निजेंस नहीं दिया. करोड़ लाखों वोट का मिसमैनेजमेंट है. ईवीएम का अभी एक रिपोर्ट आई है, उस पर इलेक्शन कमीशन नहीं कहा है. हरियाणा में एक त्योहार के चलते इलेक्शन को डिफर किया गया. क्या ये मामला है? नरेंद्र मोदी महंगाई, चाइना का इंकर्शन और बेरोजगारी से ध्यान को भटकाने के लिए ये लॉलीपॉप देते हैं मिस्टर. ये सरकार मोदी सरकार नहीं है, ये बैसाखी की नीतीश, नायडू, मांझी और चिराग के बैसाखी की सरकार. ये गलतफहमी अमित शाह और मोदी नहीं पाले कि उनका डिक्टेटोरियल एटीट्यूड चलेगा. वो दिन गए जब नवाब साहब फाख्ता उड़ाया करते थे. अब ये सरकार लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों पे चढ़ेगी और नरेंद्र मोदी को आंख से आंख मिलाने के लिए वो जनता खड़ी रहेगी और एमपी खड़े रहेंगे, ऑपोजिशन खड़ी रहेगी. नरेंद्र मोदी को इस देश के सब कुछ नहीं है. उनको भी जाना है, उनको भी पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री होना है. तो ये डिक्टेटोरियल एटीट्यूड को बदले और जनता की अदालत में जाने का ये दूसरा जो बैकडोर एंट्री का मामला है, इसको हम खारिज करते हैं.
जनता की अदालत में कैसे बैकडोर एंट्री हो जाएगी, ये आपको भी तथ्य समझ
मैं बतला रहा हूँ, मैं तब दे रहा हूँ. आई एम रेडी टू गिव द एविडेंस. हजारों सबसे 235 करोड़ रुपया गूगल के एडवर्टाइजमेंट पे भारत सरकार का खर्च हुआ. भारत सरकार का हजारों करोड़ रुपया नरेंद्र मोदी के चेहरे चमकाने में खर्च होता है। क्या वो रीजनल पार्टी को, जो दूसरी छोटी पार्टी को पैसा मिलेगा, वो अनुभव मिलेगा दूरदर्शन पर या नेशनल टीवी पर, वो स्पेस मिलेगा? दो पार्टी आप अमेरिका बनाना चाहते हैं देश को क्या? आप पानी गांव में सीमांचल जैसा सदूर इलाका है, वहां पर पानी नहीं पहुंचा रहे, टॉयलेट नहीं है, रोड
पर
नहीं है।
Adil Hassan, you would also agree. Adil Hassan, you would also agree that if the voter is smart, if the voter this time, as per you, abhi aapne kaha, the voter this time has actually brought the BJP down to its this one, and it's brought it down. It has ensured, it has tempered the weights of the BJP and the NDA. The voter, if the voter is discerning enough there, if the voter is smart, then when they don't vote for the BJP. Now you are saying that the voter is stupid, that they will vote for the BJP only if they are they have to vote simultaneously. They have to go
Anand sahab,
sir, allow me to make my point. Allow me to make my point. नहीं, देखिए, अभी तो जो प्रचार, देखिए, एक मिनट, प्रचार में जो आपके खेमे में आपके साथी बैठे हैं, उन्होंने कितना
पैसा नहीं, इलेक्ट्रॉल बॉन्ड का
आदिल हसन जी, एक मिनट, आप जिनके साथ, जिस गठबंधन के लार्जर गठबंधन फ्रेमवर्क के आप हिस्सेदार हैं या जिनके साथ आप काम कर रहे हैं, उसमें भी आप कई सारे स्टेट्स को देख लीजिए, उनके कार्यकाल में, दूसरी पार्टियों के कार्यकाल में मीडिया स्पेंड्स और एड स्पेंड्स कितने होते हैं और बीजेपी के कार्यकाल में कितने स्पेंड्स होते हैं। कोई खर्चा, जिसके पास पैसा है वो खर्चा करेगा, अगर पार्टी बात नहीं है। लेकिन इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि नेशनल पार्टी हर जगह जीतती है, नहीं जीती ना। तमिलनाडु में कांग्रेस और बीजेपी नहीं जीती, तमिलनाडु में डीएमके जीती, तमिलनाडु, वन मिनट सर, वन मिनट, तमिलनाडु में डीएमके जीतती है, तमिलनाडु में बीजेपी और कांग्रेस जितना भी पैसा खर्चा कर ले, रीजनल पार्टी का ही वर्चस्व रहा है, तो वहां रहा है। जहां पर रीजनल पार्टी नहीं है, वहां रीजनल पार्टी नहीं है। बट Tom Vadakan, this increasing argument, 1 minute sir, this increasing argument, one, that you will not get support because you are weaker, two, that this is going to lead to an authoritarian regime or a tent pole. क्या आप भारत को अमेरिका बनाना चाहते हैं? That's also what something Adil Hassan said. Your point.
सरकार गिराने के लिए हमने कभी अमेरिका का या किसी देश का हेल्प नहीं मांगा। ये कांग्रेस पार्टी और ये जो अदिल जी कह रहे हैं, ये रिजीम चेंज का जो कार्यक्रम है, ये हमने ना किसी का मदद मांगा। हमारा डेमोक्रेटिक प्रैक्टिसेस वो है जो पंडित नेहरू के टाइम से जो है, इसमें कोई चेंज नहीं है। ये जो रिकमेंडेशन हुआ है, इलेक्शन कमीशन ने किया है, पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी ने किया है, लॉ कमीशन ने किया है, और ये एक ऐसा डिमांड है जो जुडिशरी ने भी मांग किया है। तो इन हालातों में अदिल जी, मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ, आपके जेब से जितना पैसा जाता है इलेक्शनों में, 6-6 महीने में इलेक्शन होते हैं, और उस इलेक्शन में होता क्या है, आपका पार्टी, हैदराबाद में आपने क्या किया है, आपके कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी है, पानी का इतने साल से आप वहाँ हैं, पानी का व्यवस्था क्या है हालत, ये सब पूछने वाला लोग खड़े हैं। और आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जो मैनिफेस्टो में आपने प्रॉमिस किया है, अभी कर्नाटक में क्या हो रहा है, देखिए, वो कहते हैं कि भाई हम ये सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जब करने का वक्त आता है, ये कहते हैं कि भाई हमारे पास फंड नहीं है। तो फंड क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि आपने ऐसे वादा किया। तो 5 साल कोई भी सरकार खड़े होकर अपना प्रॉमिसेस और मैनिफेस्टो का काम करे, तो वही हम चाहते हैं। कांग्रेस हो, बीजेपी हो, कम्युनिस्ट हो, एआईएमएम हो, सबको अपना मैनिफेस्टो में जो प्रॉमिसेस आप करते हैं, उस पर आपको खड़ा होना पड़ेगा। ये नहीं कि इलेक्शन जीतने के बाद आप कहें कि भैया हमारे पास फंड नहीं है।
So are you saying, Tom Vadakan, that even if so, how will the voter, now let me ask you this, Tom Vadakan, how will the voter, if there are one simultaneous Lok Sabha and Assembly polls, how will the voter choose about what's been delivered in Himachal Pradesh? Who's delivered? Because there will, the BJP will vie for Lok Sabha, the BJP will vie for Assembly, the Congress will go in Himachal to the Himachali and say, okay, you got to go, but you got to press 2 buttons. One is for Lok Sabha and one is for Assembly. How do you think the voter is not going to get confused? Why do you think the voter will know exactly what to do in Karnataka, in Madhya Pradesh, in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, in Himachal, across the country, whichever state, let's pick it up? How will you know that they will not get confused? They will not get swayed by one narrative or the other. So, they are swayed by the Lok Sabha narrative or the national narrative in the local election, or the local narrative in the national election. Tom Wadekar.
Anand, it is practically proved what happened in Orissa. There happened to be a simultaneous election. You found them voting on one side. They were not. You can't underestimate the intelligence of the Indian voter. He knows what he wants, and he'll get what he wants. The reality is, this kind of campaign and this kind of polarization cannot be a continuous process. The process of polarization starts with one election. 6 months later, they change positions and then they polarize, finding that this group has not voted for us, so you divide. So this process is a continuous process that is going on. This will end. Polarization, whatever they try, is tried once, and it's not a process. It will only start 5 years later, by the time people of India have realized that the government they have elected has delivered. And if you don't deliver, you don't come back.
Well, interesting that the ratification for some of the constitutional amendments has to come from 50% of the states, and the BJP NDA combined together have hold sway in nearly 60 to 65% of the states, if not more, out of the 28 states plus the union territories. Now, that makes for an interesting equation that in the forthcoming year, in 25-26, before other states go to polls and this balance swings away, is this perhaps the winter session the best opportunity for the government to push this through, one nation, one poll? We'll see how that pans out. I have to move on for the moment, but Adil Hassan and Tom Wadekar, thank you for a very engaging but a very civil debate. Compliments to the two of you. Thank you very much, gentlemen.